Hi there, Russell. Welcome to the Reading Fabricator. And today I'm going to do a small review. Small because it's a small book, but also because this is the first book in a long time where I didn't really like it. I have a mixed reception about it, and that is Chuck Palahniuk's The Invention of Sound. The second book of his that I read, the first one was obviously Fight Club. And I'm trying to think of reasons why I just did not care for his style in this one here. It's been years since I read Fight Club, but I liked it. I really did like it. And I'm trying to figure out whether or not Chuck's style has changed. I haven't gone back to the Fight Club book to even look at the actual writing style of it, whether or not his style has changed, or as a reader, I've just progressed onto different things. Now, that's not saying that it's a bad style, bad writing style. It's just that maybe I've moved on to something else. I prefer other types of writing. Nonetheless, I picked it up at the bookstore because it was between that one and Choke, and I already own Choke. In fact, I own now 4 books by Chuck: Fight Club, this, Choke, and Invisible Monsters. I do want to get to Choke. I hear that one's quite great, actually. It's usually held up in high esteem alongside Fight Club as one of his best books. And I also want to watch the movie with Sam Rockwell in it because it's Sam Rockwell. So yeah, there's that too. It's a short read. It's around 200 pages, 220 pages, and it follows 2 storylines that run pretty much concurrently with each other. And by that I mean one paragraph or 1 page or 2 pages or just a few pages would be dedicated to one character, and then it stops right there and moves on to the next character. There could be a few pages apart to within a paragraph of each other. It's always bouncing back and forth, back and forth. And whether or not I didn't like it because of the emotional content that was missing in it. And by that I mean you're trying to get invested in this character, but then just as it's about to happen, it stops and it moves to the next storyline. And I think that's what's happened here. I think that's why I didn't really connect with it. And I know some people out there will pretty much chastise me for this by saying, well, you know, it's a Chuck book, you don't get connected to it, you just read it for the ideas. That's pretty much the basis for Fight Club, especially. You read it for its ideas and its themes. You don't really read it to get an emotional connection with it. But I figured it needed that because I didn't really care for the themes in this book either. Now, Chuck in an interview himself described this book as being basically The Lovely Bones crossed with Silence of the Lambs, and that's actually a perfect way to describe it. So if that sounds like your type of thing, then by all means go for it. Go for it and read it. But unfortunately, this one just did not take me, which is a shame because the opening is actually pretty damn good. It opens with this wonderful paragraph. In fact, I'll read it to you now. It's quite good. Page 1. An ambulance wailed through the streets, and every dog howled. Pekingese and border collies alike, German shepherds and Boston terriers, whippets, mongrels and purebreds, Dalmatians, Doberman, pinschers, poodles, basset hounds, and bulldogs, herding dogs and lap dogs, house pets and strays, mixed breed and pedigreed. They howled together as the sirens went past. And for that long going by, they were all members of the same pack, and the howls of all dogs, they were one howl. And that howl was so loud it drowned out the siren, until the sound that united them all had vanished, and yet their howling sustained itself, for no dog could bear to abandon first that rare moment of their communion. That's a pretty damn good paragraph, even though it does lean in on the whole dog thing. But from there, you get the story of a private detective, Foster Gates, and he is on a decades-long search for his missing daughter. I think Lucy was her name, I can't remember. One day, him and Lucy were playing this game, and she goes into the elevator of a building, and then she's never seen from again. And he goes on various online sites, taboo sites, black dark websites, sites that will get you prosecuted type thing, trying to see if his daughter may have ended up in a one of those types of videos pretty much, and is always trying to see if that's his daughter there. And the opening of it, the opening of him is really damn good actually. It starts off with him chasing this man who's with a girl roughly the same age Lucy was when she disappeared, and they're going onto a plane, and he's hightailing it, just chasing them onto this plane. He gets on there just as they're about to close the door, and he's gone completely out of his mind, accusing the man of being a pedophile, of being a sexual predator, of kidnapping this girl. And it turns out that all this time it was a father and a daughter, and it's being captured on camera, on video phones and all that sort of thing. and you see him just sort of break down. And that's how you meet Private Foster Gates. Private Detective Foster Gates. The next storyline follows a woman by the name of Mitzi. Roughly, I think she's in her 20s. And she tortures and kills people to get their screams to sell to Hollywood for their movies, to try and create an authentic sound, pretty much, for their movies. And she does this so well that she actually comes up with the perfect scream, one that causes other people to scream and causes all havoc to go loose, especially when it's played in theatres. And eventually their storylines interject, and I'm not going to say why that happens, but needless to say, it does. The plots pretty much conjoin and involve one another. And that's really all I can say about it, because honestly, I just don't really have many. As you can see, I'm struggling to just put together thoughts about this book. It's just, after that opening 10 pages, it's just I struggled to connect with it. There were some other great moments. For example, Foster Gates pretty much hires a prostitute to act as his grown-up daughter and to basically go to dinner and all that sort of thing and talk about their day, and also to reminisce memories, sort of. And I found that quite interesting, a very interesting subplot. That also comes into play in the last half of the book as well. That prostitute will become involved. And as for Mitzi, you get to go into a little bit of a backstory for her and find out how she came upon selling her first screen, and how she's constantly trying to up the price, and she gets paid an absolute fortune for this first screen, and it's with this executive or something like that, and she's trying to act all sexual towards him, and he's obviously not interested. He's interested in the scream, so that way she knows he's legit, and he pretty much offers her this insane amount of money, and that's how she gets into the business. Although technically it was through her father. Her father had started the whole thing, and she just carried on the process pretty much. As for the final thoughts, I found this book to be not really fragmented, but too choppy. Yeah. I liked what he was going for. I could see what he was trying to do, and I've seen other YouTube videos of people describing this book, and they're having the same sort of problems as well and describing it. They just can't figure out why it's just not doing it for them. Honestly, maybe I'm just past Chuck. Maybe I don't care for his style, and which is a real shame, because I was hoping I'd like it. I really do like Fight Club, and I'm too scared to go back to it now, because maybe I just won't like it. But I'm not gonna write him off just yet. I'm gonna read Choke. I want to give Choke a go and see if that brings me back in on his work. Another criticism I have of the book is sometimes a time will pass. Time will pretty much pass between paragraphs and pages, and it won't tell you, and it just all of a sudden you're a week or two ahead of time, and you just don't find out the resolution to the previous thing that happened. And I didn't like that as well. So it left certain things to be desired, pretty much. What you were hoping for in some sort of resolution, it just doesn't give to you. And the resolution to this book, I don't think really gets there. It's trying. It's trying to get to something truly meaningful, but I don't think it worked. And that's a real shame, because obviously the first, say, 2/3 of this book, it's building and building and building and building, and you see these two plot lines slowly start to come together. And when it does come together, you expect something quite, I wouldn't say magical, but something truly chaotic to happen. And in a way it does, but it wasn't the way that I wanted it to happen. Now, this is just a personal preference, okay? I know I'm in the minority when I say this. It appears. I mean, there's a lot of people on Goodreads who like this, but it's not for me, unfortunately. So this has been a pretty dour review for me. I've been lingering on this book for a long time. I read it 3 weeks ago, and I've just been thinking just whether or not I should do a video on it. But I did say I was going to do a video for every book I read this year from the 26 books that I will read in a year series. So yeah, here's the review for the Invention of Sound. There are moments in this book that I really did like, such as that opening with Foster Gates on the plane. I thought that was brilliant. And the backstory to Mitzi when she sells her first sound, again, very well written. But everything else, I could just leave it. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. As for books I'm reading at the moment, I'm going through Donald Ray Pollock's The Devil All the Time. Now, this is a cracking read, very well written. Again, it's very choppy. It's like a couple of pages and then end of chapter and it moves on to another thing. But there's multiple timelines, multiple storylines, and it just works in this book. I don't know why, but it works in this book the way it didn't in Invention of Sound. So as it stands, I'm really liking that one. And I also just finished Dune a while back, and I'm going to plan on doing a video on that one as well. Again, Dune I really liked, yeah. And I'm going to plan on finishing the entire series by the end of this year. I recently just got Dune Messiah and a big book haul, so I'll probably do a big video on that as well. So if you are one of the many people out there who like this book, again, I'll say I'm in the minority on this one, then by all means, let me know what I'm missing. That's probably the best way to describe it. What is it about this book that people like, or that I'm obviously glancing over without properly taking it in? Because I really want to know, yeah. As it stands, I'll leave you to it. Have a good day, everyone. See you next time.